What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to Total Chiefs News, where we break down everything happening with our team. And today, we're diving into one of the most exciting and unpredictable parts of the NFL offseason, free agency. Now, you already know how crucial this period is. This is when the front office makes the moves that can define an entire season. Whether it's signing impact players, securing depth pieces, or even letting go of key contributors, every decision matters. And let's be honest, Brett Veach and this Chiefs front office have been one of the best in the business at building a championship-caliber roster. So far, Kansas City has made some notable moves. You've probably seen the headlines, some key additions, some tough departures, and of course plenty of rumors about who else might be coming in. But the big question remains, have the Chiefs done enough? That's exactly what we're going to break down in this video. First, we'll take a deep dive into Jalon Moore, the former 49ers lineman who could play a big role in protecting Patrick Mahomes. Then we'll shift over to the defensive side of the ball with Kristian Fulton, a talented cornerback who could shake things up in the Chiefs' secondary. And finally, we'll discuss what's still missing, the wide receiver situation and whether Gardner Minshew could be a sneaky good addition as a backup QB. But before we jump in, let me ask you this. What's been the best move of the Chiefs' offseason so far? Drop your answer in the comments, and let's see what the kingdom thinks. All right, let's get into it. Starting with a name you might not have expected to be such a big deal, Jalon Moore. Let's talk about Jalon Moore. Now, I know what you might be thinking, who? Because let's be real, when people talk about top-tier offensive linemen, his name doesn't exactly come up. But that doesn't mean this move isn't important. Moore spent the last few seasons with the San Francisco 49ers, mostly as a backup. But when he did step in, especially in 2024, he showed some real promise. Last season, he filled in for Trent Williams, one of the best left tackles in the game, and held his own. Sure, he wasn't perfect, but for a guy who wasn't a full-time starter, he played solid football. So, what does this mean for Kansas City? Well, the Chiefs need depth on the offensive line. Protecting Mahomes is always priority number one, and with Donovan Smith hitting free agency, there's an open spot on the left side. Could Jalon Moore step in and lock down the LT position? That's the big question. Now, it's not a guarantee that Moore will be the starting left tackle in Week 1. Some analysts think he could be a better fit at right guard, especially if the Chiefs want to move on from Trey Smith in the future. But either way, this signing gives Kansas City options, and that's always a good thing. But what do you think? Will Jalon Moore be a key piece of the offensive line in 2025? Let's get a quick vote going. How do you grade this signing? A. Great move. B. Solid depth piece. C. Not sure if he's the answer. D. Meh, we could have done better. F. Terrible signing. Drop your vote in the comments, and let's see where Chiefs Kingdom stands on this one. Now, while the offense is always a big topic in Kansas City, let's switch gears and talk defense, because the addition of Kristian Fulton could have some serious implications for the secondary. All right, let's talk Kristian Fulton. If you've been keeping up with the NFL, you know this guy has had an up-and-down career so far. A second-round pick by the Titans back in 2020, Fulton showed flashes of being a high-level corner early on. But injuries and inconsistency held him back from reaching that next level. Now Kansas City is taking a chance on him, and honestly, this could be a steal. When he's at his best, Fulton is a physical, aggressive corner who can match up with top receivers. But the big question is, will we get the lockdown version of Fulton or the one who struggled with injuries? Let's look at how he fits into Steve Spagnuolo's system. The Chiefs' defense thrives on versatility. Trent McDuffie has become one of the most reliable corners in the league, but there's been talk that moving him inside to nickel could make the defense even stronger. That's where Fulton comes in. If he can hold down one of the outside corner spots, McDuffie shifting inside could give Spags a dangerous secondary with L'Jarius Sneed, assuming Sneed isn't traded, of course. But this move isn't without risk. Last season, Fulton allowed a passer rating over 100 when targeted, and his missed tackles were an issue. Kansas City is betting on a bounce-back year, and with the right coaching, that's definitely possible. So, Chiefs Kingdom, do you think moving McDuffie to nickel is the right move? Let's keep this simple. Drop a Y in the comments if you're in favor of it, or an N if you think he should stay outside. Speaking of big moves, the Chiefs aren't just focused on defense. There's still a major question about the wide receiver room, and let's not forget about a certain quarterback named Gardner Minshew. Now let's shift gears and talk about the offense, specifically the wide receiver situation and a potential new backup for Mahomes. Last season, the Chiefs' wide receiver core was one of the biggest concerns. Outside of Rashee Rice, consistency was a major issue. Drops, lack of separation, and missed assignments plagued the group all year. That's why this offseason, Brett Veach has been aggressive in looking for upgrades. One of the biggest names being linked to Kansas City, Hollywood Brown. The former Cardinals and Ravens receiver brings speed, experience, and deep threat ability, which is exactly what the Chiefs need to open up the passing game. But is he the answer? That's still up for debate. Alongside him, you have Xavier Worthy, a promising young talent, and of course the possibility of a reunion with Juju Smith-Schuster. Then there's another interesting name floating around, Tyler Lockett. The longtime Seahawks receiver has been rumored as a potential target, and honestly, he'd be a perfect fit in Andy Reid's offense. Sure, he's getting older, but his route running and reliability make him a strong option if the Chiefs decide to make a move. But let's not forget about the backup quarterback situation. Chad Henne was the gold standard when it came to stepping in when needed, but since his retirement, the Chiefs haven't had that same level of security behind Mahomes. Enter Gardner Minshew. Minshew is one of the best backups in the league. He's got starting experience, a solid arm, and a fearless mentality. If Kansas City wants a true safety net behind Mahomes, he might be the best option out there. The only question is whether they'd be willing to pay for a high-end QB2. So let's hear it, Chiefs Kingdom. Who's the one player you'd love to see the Chiefs add on offense? Drop your answer in the comments, and let's talk about it. Now, we've talked about the moves Kansas City could make, but what about the bigger picture? What's the long-term plan for this team? Let's wrap it all up. As we wrap things up, let's take a step back and look at the big picture. Every move the Chiefs make in free agency isn't just about this season. It's about building a sustainable dynasty around Patrick Mahomes. Brett Veach has proven time and time again that he's one of the best GMs in the league when it comes to roster construction. Whether it's drafting key talent, making smart free agent signings, or managing the cap, he always seems to find a way to keep the Chiefs competitive. And with the decisions being made this offseason, it's clear that Kansas City is looking to stay on top for years to come. One of the biggest questions moving forward, the future of Travis Kelce. He's still playing at an elite level, but at some point the Chiefs will need to find his successor. Is that player already on the roster? Or will Kansas City have to make a big move in the draft or free agency to find their next great tight end? What do you think? Is Kelce's replacement already in Kansas City? Or should the Chiefs start looking elsewhere? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. One thing's for sure. No matter what happens, the Chiefs are built to compete for another Super Bowl. This offseason has already been full of big moves, and we'll be here to cover every single one of them. So if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We'll see you next time, Chiefs Kingdom.